Hi Aquarius. Alright, welcome to this place if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. So, I thought it would be fun to look at the last third of the year. So, if you can see, we have 4 piles here, and this will be September, October, November, and December. As I'm recording this, Mercury is also in retrograde, so I took the undercurrent of both decks that we used and decided to use that as an expression of this transit, which is about till the middle of September. There was a lot of gratitude in your prayer. Something about, like, maybe you want to think about who these are for you, like someone who, like, whoever your guides are, if you will, who your teachers are. And there's something about your father or some kind of, like, strong masculine figure that's also really important. I also saw the number 7. So, let's start with Mercury retrograde and see what's going on there. So, what you have here is the 2 of Cups and the 9 of Wands. The first thing I saw was where some of you maybe had your guard up for quite some time. Someone had their guard up in relation to connecting with other people in a certain way, or maybe someone felt blocked in something, but I feel like there's an opening here. It's like that energy has completed itself in some kind of way. Now, I suppose that those of you who have not taken a break from, like, if your one-on-one partnerships have been, like, rolling over and where it's really tight and the difficulty has not completed, then this Mercury retrograde may give you a little bit of opposing energy. Let's see actually what he's looking at. Emperor. Okay, so... and he's looking at something too. What's he looking at? 7 of Cups. Okay, how do I explain that? Well, when we know who we are as an individual, right, like how we work, then our relationships with others are actually like, know thyself, then adorn thyself accordingly, right? The more, again, I see the more a person is conscious of how they work, then again I see the relationships with others and whatever you're connecting with are actually quite smooth and easy. So I suppose if you come up against a lot of resistance for some way or another, well, I just saw something beeping, so there's like, I would reverse from that a little bit. I would also say, since Mercury retrograde sometimes can make us think about the past, or the past can come towards us, I guess I would just be aware of one's boundaries, if there's any boundaries you have made, so that the relationships you're creating now, whatever you're connecting with now, is in the most positive way, right? Like, I guess it would be a message of not letting the past sway a person from being where it is that they are now, right? If you've cut something off, if whatever it was in the past, that just leave it. I would also say this is one of those times where, like, there's no need to make a problem where there's not a problem, okay? Actually, I feel like Virgo is a adjustment place to you, which is the exaltation of Mercury. So that reading for this sort of time frame may also be helpful for you, okay? All right, let's actually see about September, what's going on with that. Aquarius. Oh, Ten of Cups. See, yeah, there ain't nothing. I heard there ain't nothing to worry about. What's with that? Okay, Ten of Swords. All right, well, maybe there's something going on with family. This is how a person... Okay, what are we talking about here? We have 2 tens. Well, I heard a person say, I can't do this because of that. Well, what if we, a wise Pisces told me this recently, like, instead of looking at the can'ts of something, if you ever get stuck there where it's too much of this negative, where it's just like, well, I can't do this because of that, or I did it because of this or that. It's like, well, look at what is possible. Okay, because you kind of have these opposing energies here. 10 of Cups is immensely positive. It's all the good emotions and all the things, right? The emotional space is actually really awesome. You know, relationships with family and the way you're feeling about connecting emotionally, right? This is also feeling good about your job too. And then we have where the mind comes in, and maybe you want to just settle your mind, okay? Because tens at times can be like where you've already completed something has already been completed, and now it's sort of a stage of replenishment, right? I would say, please don't worry about what has been. It would be where you are right now, not what has been, but presently where you are right now. The water here actually in your reading is immensely positive. And you know what, if for some reason like family stuff is a little heavy, then make sure you're also like family more, how do I explain this? If things get a little tight, then reach out to your friends, okay? Like reach out outside of your very intimate, personal, like home bubble, okay? You want to like expand out. That will also be helpful and balance. I heard in balancing it out. I almost feel like till this Mercury's done in retrograde, which is again about the middle of September, there's something that you don't want to overthink either, okay? You know, that's one of, you know, you're the strongest air sign because your undercurrent is ruled by Saturn. So sometimes if you get into the mental space, it all depends on how you feel behind that, right? Like if you feel good when you're thinking about something, if the feeling behind it is good, then that just is so solid and it stays there, right? And it actually becomes something that's like lighthearted. You know, it's like where you don't have to worry. But if for some reason it gets into the negative space, even if the feeling behind it is good, sometimes the mind can trick you. So, hold on. Let's actually see a little advice on that. We'll leave the Two of Cups out. I suppose something a little bit unexpected. Let's see how to, you know, maybe, okay, maybe that's the thing. If there's been too much like straight up responsibility where it's just like too rigid, then you need, let's actually take the Ten of Swords instead of putting this on the top and keeping the Ten of Cups on the bottom. Why don't we switch this around? You know, let's be very conscious. Let's be very conscious of what was and not again allowing that to enter into the now. I see the word space. I don't know, maybe some of you need space or need to take, it's creating space. That's what I see, creating space. I'm also seeing like the sky at nighttime with stars in it. So I heard, look at how your ascendant is connecting to your MC. So I guess this also shows me that you're heading, something's guiding you again in the right direction, and whatever you've been learning about, where you're no longer just the student, but now you are the teacher, meaning if you could explain it to someone else, right? So I guess this goes to show good communication. You're heading in the right direction. So maybe you just want to feel into that, right? Interesting. Okay, let's look at October and see where we go. October, Aquarius. Okay, we have the page of Earth. Okay, a little plant in a pot. It seems like something just got repotted. Okay, and Two of Swords. This card's been pretty strong. I actually think it's really beautiful. These two hands. It's almost like, well, how do you work together, right? Let's see. Oh, so in October, something wants you to try something new. Or there's something new in October. Oh, maybe that's a part of this. Is these double tens and these double tens? There's something here where we start out where something needs to be repotted. Maybe something's too tight, or again, it just like something needs space. It needs space. It needs like a new pot, right? It could even be one of those things where someone has so much of something, right? Like the plant is so abundant, it's something so full that it's like, well, you could break off a piece of that and make a new one. You know what I mean? Like if you make space for it, you're like, oh, I have this empty pot. Oh, what can I put in this? You know, instead of, I heard getting, yeah, so it's starting something new here. And I heard having hope that it can grow. Two of Swords to me is also very much like a feeling card. We have 2 twos here, so you'd want to trust yourself. I really like, actually, that the Knight of Pentacles came out in the reverse, so whatever was stuck is no longer stuck. You know, whatever was feeling kind of like, I mean, I suppose there could still be decisions to be made, but this is like looking at what could happen in the physical world from like I heard a lighthearted point of view, you know. This goes back to knowing, people knowing who they are. I feel like any decisions you need to make in October too, there are some that you'll make on your own, but this is also something where like some of your decisions really, they are very much connected to other people. So I heard, what are you doing independently and what are you doing together? This could also be some kind of question about like about committing to something or investing in something. I guess putting your finances in order could also be helpful. Or, again, like looking at what you have between well, I heard, what's the feeling between you and these things in the physical world? It could be like between you and another person, or like between you and where you live. Like, when you're about to connect with something, say like before it like fully like comes together, right? Like, what is the feeling between that? And I suppose you have, there's an ability to be able to create the feeling between it. And like there's creativity behind it. Or with, like, again, I keep seeing the word betwixt. Or believe in what is possible, right? For you, all things are possible. Let's look at November. Okay, 3 of Swords. Just a minute. With the 8 of Pentacles. I heard you got to keep your mental space in check. That's going to be part of the test at this last third of the year. Because when the air seems to show up, it messes, like when the mental space is too tight or too negative, or it gets scared, what happens is something energetically gets blocked. And it sort of halts something. But I guess if there's any time that comes up, it's because you're meant to realize like where feelings and thoughts, like how they work. Maybe it's what's in between your head and your heart. And what is that? Chakra speaking. If this is your head and this is your heart, you have throat chakra between, which is about communication. And to Aquarius, communicating how you feel is like, oh, I see. Communicating how you feel is one of your biggest lessons. It's like breaking the barriers in your mind, and it's kind of like breaking the barrier between your heart and your head. Does that make sense? Like when there's a wall there, or like whatever the stones are that have been built up there because at some point or another you didn't feel safe enough to communicate how you feel, or someone judged you for that. Right? Blue lace agate is also a really beautiful stone for connecting the head and the heart chakra, so that the throat chakra actually communicates through, you're finding like the triangle to it. You know what I mean? You're connecting these 3 points. So maybe for some of you that could be helpful. It's usually like a very light lavender sort of stone. It has white in it. It's very Venusian. I keep seeing like a heart-shaped rock. Oh, to back up a little bit, although you're not meant to worry about the future, something about October also connects to May. Like it's Venus to Venus. So this is also like your loving relationships, like your love, well, anyone you love, but this can also be romantic, and having like the practical nature rolled into your relationships as well as like this soft side. Okay. Now for Scorpio time, this is a square to you. So November, for some of you, I heard it depends where Aquarius is in your map and how well you've been doing with Saturn. But the point is that I suppose very well, if we take this in a positive, this could be one of those things that's been a pain, like within your heart. And this could be very old too. You know, maybe when you were like, 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. The point is that the Eight of Pentacles shows me that there's great work that's being done on the heart in November. And where a person's not allowing, again, which is kind of, it seems to be a flowing message through here, of not allowing the past to create the future, right? Maybe that's the between also, is like presently and the past, Not allowing that, again, to interrupt where you are presently and to enjoy the feeling of where you are now, however that may be, like the gratitude of that. I heard realize you've been guided here now, right? And then whatever the between is between presently, what you're creating, and what the future really can bring. Interesting. There could also be a test, what we talked about, where it was like, okay, the student becomes the teacher in a way, right? A person learns the lesson enough to be able to stand up in the front of class and like explain what it is that they've been studying. That could also be a part of this too. So this is sharing knowledge. I heard not to prove anything to anyone. If anything, it's just kind of to prove it to yourself. Like, oh, can I do that without a reference point, right? Can I do that without being prompted? Can I do that? And I heard, can I? Yes. Can we? Sure can. Interesting. You know what's interesting? This Ten of Swords also, it's going to roll back into the 1, right? 1 plus 0 is 1. Then we have 2 of Swords. Then we have 3 of Swords. So you're actually going in a line in ways of the mental space. You're going in the right order. Like, your mind ends up ordering itself, because what comes after this is the 4 of Swords, which is about peace in your heart, peace in the heart, right? It's about where you live very presently when you get into the 4 of Swords, right? It's like, well, I could die any day. It's not being afraid of it. It's not living in that. There's so many times in life, right, where we either live way back in the past, or we can project into the future and like be afraid of whatever the future ultimately will be, things that we have no control over that are just going to happen. Like, oh, sorry, we're all gonna die. And it's like, oh, sorry, not sorry, like we all fall in love, like it's interesting. And I heard maybe this seems too broad, but I heard you take your own perspective on these things, right? Interesting. Let's see December. Aquarius. King of Swords. See what happens here? you go all the way to the king. What is this? This is your energy at the highest elevation, right? Clear communicator, honest, concise, intelligent, fair, right? This sword is sheathed, so this is peacetime. I heard whatever it was that was interrupting your ability to have a clear mind is now cleansed in some kind of way. Let's see what's with that. Ace of Pentacles. Yep. And what happens with that is you receive some sort of blessing. This is also an opportunity. Earth and air. Earth and air. Earth and air. That's what October, November, December is, earth and air. So I guess the lesson, a bit of it, is like how the mental space creates the physical reality. Okay, hold on a second. Guess we're trying to look at just... Let's try to just look at December. Well, I heard, do we have to... Should we look back? Should we look to the past? No. No. You'll know whether you need to keep continuing to look backwards or not. It's like, if it still hurts, if it still bothers you, if it's like something like that like hasn't been processed or burned away, then yeah, it probably needs to be addressed, but it's more emotionally than it is mentally. I heard that which has been cleansed or purified, right? Where something has been completed and now there's brand new energy around it, and when you tap into it, it's like it only brings you power instead of like making you feel boxed in. Then you know that you don't have to look to the past. You can just be in this present moment, right? And there's the Four of Swords, which is again that place of peace and rest. The flaming sword of truth. Okay, so let's split these in half. The end of suffering, good. You decide. I heard let feelings be the communicator. I mean, I know sometimes it's hard to find words for feelings, right? So I heard, don't be afraid of being, you don't have to be afraid of being judged, okay? Let's see. So I suppose in December, there could be some kind of decision in relation to the new year that's like really significant. And because of someone's hard work in the past too, there really is some kind of amazing new opportunity. I heard maybe someone offers something to you, or you offer something, someone offers something to someone that's like really a beautiful opportunity. And I feel like that's Queen of Swords now, so there's a match. I feel like that is a fair deal. Now, what did we just say there? I feel like that's a fair deal. It's not, I think that's a good deal, right? If we say, I think, yeah, I think, you know, are you going to that show tonight? Like, yeah, I think I might. Like, or I think I am. It's funny when we say think, there's a question in it, right? But when we say I feel, it's usually pretty solid. And so if the feeling behind something, again, is positive, you might just want to check in there. Like, do this as like I heard, as a habit throughout, because this will help keep your mind in the right place, right? Like, for instance, I'll give an example. The other day, like, life's been so awesome. I'm so grateful to be here now. And all the opportunities and blessings and, like, love in my life. An opportunity to be able to create, with what I have, and new things in the future. It's like, the other day I kind of got in my head, and so I just started writing down, like, how I felt. Like, I was like, am I happy? And I was like, yeah. And it's like, am I allowed to be happy? Yeah. Virgo talked a bit about this too. It's... And then it was like, do I need to be worried about something? That was Capricorn's message. It was like, no. Certainly don't. Now, of course, remember, there is a difference between feeling and emotion, right? Emotion is very, like, it can be classified as, like, unconscious. That's that Ten of Swords, right? Feeling is more of a present energy. I guess being emotional is more of a past energy. So you might know the difference that way too, right? Interesting. So you have a lot of Earth here, which also shows me stability. Ace of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, Page of Earth, even the Knight of Earth here. It's like, it shows it steady. And for instance, one thing turns into many things, and then you take those many things and put those all together, and then that creates an even bigger, awesome thing, right? I heard, don't be afraid to repot the plant or to make space for something. I heard, don't be afraid that something, like, won't grow or, like, won't be successful. It's like, are you enjoying it in the moment now? If you are, then that usually creates success anyhow. Do you see what I'm saying? And I do, again, I feel like this is a good deal. So I guess if you have any concerns as you go along also, well, I see, please express how you feel. And as you're a pretty private person, yes, especially in regards to the way that you feel sometimes, because again, no one wants to be judged for that, right? Then just remember that you're completing some kind of cycle or, like, level. I heard leveling up in your mental world, right? In your mental space, which I heard very well may be the ability to put that in check more, right? It goes back to what we said in the beginning, like knowing how a person works and being in tune with their body. Because sometimes the mind tells us things. There's all kinds of, like, electrical currents going through there, right? All this electricity there. But, like, the body may be telling, like, a different story, right? And so when you tap into the feeling space or your energy that's flowing through, you're going to know whether that's frictional. And if it does ever happen to be, also recognizing that you have some sort of ability to be able to turn it. And maybe for some of you, this is where, I don't know, you talk to your guides, or you talk to your teachers, or you go to people that you respect and like, yes, and where you can find your where do you find your clarity when you can't find it in yourself? And I suppose as an individual process, because you love to do things on your own, right? It's also being, like, vulnerable in these places too. Because I guess whatever the leveling up of I heard mental pathways is, is also bringing you to a deeper level of emotional awareness as well. Which brings a lot of success in the physical world. You know, for some of you, there could have been some kind of like physical block too that was like halting something for a while. I don't know if this had to do with like what a person believed could be possible or is possible. But apparently, whatever, again, is like wherever someone recognizes their own abundance, and I guess has the gratitude for that, then whatever this repotting is, I heard, let's try. And of course, as you go along, whenever, you know, you're like, oh, is this going to grow? Is this going to work? Like, and it's just like, well, check in with the literal physical. Like, is this working? How does it look? Right? When you tap into it in a more sensory way, minus mind, right? Like, how does it feel? How does it smell? When you touch it, like, does it, the space between you and it, like, again, that's whatever that's all about. This betwixt energy is where something actually, yes, comes together, and it's actually very successful, whatever's going on here. Your first and second house, so we have 1, 2, 3. I heard I want to create. Oh, you're supposed to fill in that sentence. I want to create. You know, maybe that was a part of it for some of you too, where there was some kind of, again, with that 9 of Wands in the beginning, maybe there's some kind of restriction before, and all of a sudden it's like maybe your creative energy was like, some of you were in a creative slump, or you were in a slump romantically or energetically, right? Just like this heart energy, because that's, creation is love, right? It's the awesomest way to create is with love. That's the between energy. So anyway, I feel like something pushed through there, and all of a sudden now there's some motivation. So I'd say or don't let your mind sway yeah, there's the Ace of Coins again with the 9 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. So we have a double here, Ace of Pentacles. So there's more than one blessing going on here, and this is also creating your blessings, actually. You know, sometimes they're just given to us, but that's kind of it, is like, your efforts matter so much. A person's efforts here matters so much. And I feel like something's different than it was before, you know, in a way. Someone's not afraid of failing here. I mean, that could be a little bit for November for some of you specifically, or part of this last third is like, I heard, don't be afraid of failure. No. If there's ever a problem, there's 10 of Cups, double, with the High Priestess, and the Queen of Swords, 3 of Cups. Like, this is all, so what did we say before? If you ever get too stuck, go talk to your friends. Go to these different circles of energy. And apparently, This is about trusting feelings, right? Trusting the path, trusting other people. I mean, other people obviously trust you, right? And love you. Cool. How many Earths do we have? 9, 10, 11, 12. There's a 10 of Cups again. So if you're aware of your map, try to make sure you're giving attention to each one of your houses. Okay, if you're unaware of what all these houses mean, it would be, for this last third of the year, kind of focus in, like, where have you been giving a lot of attention? You know, is it towards work? Is it towards your spouse? Is it towards your children or your neighborhood or your home? You know, like, where have you been putting a lot of energy, and like, what do you feel like's lacking? You know, how much time are you putting towards your finances or towards your goals of the future or your creative space? You know, the thing that you do that's just fun for you, that doesn't have to do anything with work. You know, something like that. Just try, you know, again, friends, you know, your circles of people, whatever. Try to just keep, you know, maybe in a weekly way, figure out how much space you're giving that, because that will tell you about the whole, you know, the way the month goes. And I heard, of course, you can balance this out, but if it ever gets heavy of one space, I guess remember that, like, friendship and doing things that are a little bit lighthearted, yes, are really, you know, awesome. Or maybe it's just like a family outing or something that, like, makes it fun. I heard throw some fun in there. Okay? Throw some fun in there, Bobs. All right, I love you so much. It was just 4242. I hope this was helpful. And thank you for the inspiration and the good, honest talk. I feel good about it. I know there's a little bit worry in the beginning, right? Or like a little bit of concern, but I heard again, you know the way you work, and how you work against yourself sometimes, right? So just keep working on these betwixes. I'm wishing you the best, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.